There it is. What up, everybody? Welcome to the Grid and Grind Show. I'm your host, Daniel Ball. And as you can see, we're not in the studio. We are on location live in Dallas, Texas. We are just finishing up 2 days of action-packed grid excitement. And it was, as advertised, you had 2 days full of matches that met expectations. They met the build. And, today I just wanted to spend some time, go live, talk to everybody, and just first and foremost, thank everybody for their opportunity to do what I love to do, which is talk to players and just be a part of something really, really special, from the equipment crew, the referees, the live broadcast team, cameras, audio, production, you name it, from top to bottom, top notch, all the way around. Shout out to all the teams for doing what they do, putting out just unbelievable effort. And shout out to all the vendors, the sponsors, everybody that showed up to make the Dallas Strength Expo what it was, which is something super incredible. But we got to get into it. We got to talk. I guess the best way to start is to start at the beginning. Day one is a day that could have been what most would think of as a trap day. A lot of things could happen, but in the end, things panned out the way that maybe they should have, or what people thought they would. You had your 2-0 teams looking to solidify a definitive spot in the playoffs and move to 3-0, and you had some 0-2 teams that were scrappy, that were trying to grind and try to pick up a win. And we'll start with the Breakers and the Wild. The Breakers pick up a win here, 22-13. Some of the highlights from that day one match is you got Tom Soroka back, and you got Amanda Fisher, who was league MVP last year for the championship Wild. She comes back to help out, and you could see drastic attitude, everything. The demeanor of the Wild was in check. It was ready. It's just injuries. They're going up against a really good Breakers team, and the injuries, it's just hard to overcome those things. The Breakers end up taking care of business, 22-13. You had, unbelievable, just a team performance, a team win. They cruised to a victory, setting themselves up for a day two matchup with the Lions, who were currently in first place in that East Division. The second match of the day showed the Venom versus the Brigade. And if you wanted, on your seat, nail biting, intense moments, this brought it to you. The Brigade pick up a win, 17-17 tie. So it forced gridlock. The Brigade end up winning the gridlock, which gives them the match win. You did see, gridlock for the first time, I think, in 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. So something that you don't typically see, but something that is very, special when you get a chance to see it, because it's almost a sudden death, and players got to go out, perform the elements, and got to perform them perfectly, because if not, it's not just losing a race, it's losing the entire match. You had the we've joked a lot on this podcast about Wes Kitts being unleashed, and he was unleashed, and he was a big X factor for the Venom, the difference maker. Having him, you could definitely see the difference in a more solidified, unified Venom team. Probably, according to Coach Bayer, probably the strongest that his team has been all season, and it made a difference. They pushed the Brigade to the brink, end up inevitably coming up short. But you did see a new race. We saw the handstand obstacle course. Alex Smith taking on Chris Chaffee, and it was unbelievable. It was wild. It was crazy. Definitely something that we'll probably see again in the future. Don't know if we'll see it in championships, probably not, but definitely something that brought people to the edge of their seats, and everybody was standing up, ready to rock, ready to roll. But it was really cool. Aesthetically, it was awesome to watch. Match 3, you got the Sharks taking on the Bandits. Sharks take care of business 21-12. Really, the Sharks in this did what they needed to do. Didn't do anything fancy, didn't do anything crazy. Just went out and took care of business. The Bandits really I feel like them over time, they're starting to find their groove. I think if we had more matches in the season, you would see the Bandits continue to improve and pick up some victories. But the Sharks ended up being too much and end up taking the win, propelling them into a juggernaut match on day 2 against the Brigade that we'll get to here in a minute. The Palms and the Lions ended out the day, and what a way to end it out. 17-17 going into forcing gridlock. The Palms had to win the sprint relay to force a tie and to force gridlock, and it happened. They went out, they took care of business, and you see gridlock now for twice in one day when you haven't seen it in 4 years. Incredible to watch. Ryan DeMatti, he's back. Much like Wes Kitts for the Venom, Ryan DeMatti, a strong dude and is a difference maker. And you can see the difference in what it was able to do to add just a little bit more to that strength side for the Lions, something that they've been missing, but definitely something without a guy like Briley Smith in the fold, having a Ryan DeMatti there definitely helps. The takeaways from day 1, you have to look at the Brigade and the Lions. They get challenged, but they overcome. They're able to be, face a little bit of adversity, and they're able to use that as part of the resume to get them better. I think, when we talk about day 2, that getting them better helped really open their eyes, but also it's something that they can lean on when, that adversity comes back, because both of those teams are going to be in the playoffs, and they're probably going to see some adversity at some point in those playoffs, and how they responded this week is going to be a testament to what they are able to do when it comes back in the championships. But, you got fine, day 2 is now set up with a 3-0 Sharks team taking on a 3-0 Brigade team for the Western Conference championship, the winner of the Western Conference regular season. And then you have the Breakers going 3-0 and the Lions going 3-0, setting up, on day 2, the Eastern Conference Finals regular season champion. And so what a way to really get us there. A couple gridlocks on day 1. You've got 3-0 teams all showing off for day 2. And, what could you ask for? You wake up in the morning, it's an early start, 8 a.m. start, but, you couldn't tell it. People were ready to go, ready to do their thing. But we started day 2 with the Sharks versus the Brigade. The Brigade have typically started slow. However, today they take the partner forward, they take the mirror, and it comes down to, just like it did in the playoffs last year, the sprint relay. And the story was the same. The Sharks were able to take the sprint relay and take the win. They end up picking up the victory 17-16. If you're on the Brigade, you can't be disappointed in your performance this weekend. Maybe some things that you would want to clean up and get better, but knowing that you're battle tested, knowing that you can compete with the best teams in the league, and knowing that you get another opportunity now in a month to see the Sharks again, it's got to bode a lot of confidence going into that for the Brigade. So as we move closer to the playoffs, the Brigade have now like this rough, this exterior that's been hardened, and now they're going to be able to rely on that when they're ready to rock and roll again with the Sharks. The second match is the Eastern Conference Championship, and it pitted the Breakers 3-0 taking on the Lions 3-0. The Lions, it was unbelievable. I think this is, a missed opportunity for the Breakers. The Breakers come out and win the first 4. So the Lions are down the first 4 races. Then they start getting things going. They even picked up a 0 on the ladder, which was unreal. But Jamie Gold throws the bonus flag for a ring, the second ringer, which is the farmer's carry from start to finish. And you see Ryan DeMatti pick up a victory, and maybe, a lucky victory in a sense that Josh Newell had a lead and, tripped up or tried to dive. And I don't think he knew exactly where he was in relation to Ryan DeMatti, but he ended up trying to dive, and the farmer's carry made it across the finish line. Unfortunately, his feet didn't. And so because of that, he had to reset and go through that last little bit again, which gave Ryan DeMatti enough time to recover and pass him. So, but really, it's those little breaks that really led to it. I think, Jamie Gold throwing that bonus flag and really knowing, like, we need an opportunity. We need to get something going. This is the best that we're going to have. So before this thing gets out of hand, I need to get us back in it. And she did. And that was the catalyst that really brought them into the match. They ended up, taking care of business as they've done all season. And whether you think the race rank is not as good as the others, when you go head to head, they're winning. And so when you look at that, at surface level for what it is, that's all that matters. Head to head victories, and they beat the second best team in the conference. They pick up the Eastern Conference championship. So, shout out to the Lions for doing their thing. You move into match 3, the Venom and the Bandits, two teams that are 0-3, looking for some momentum, looking for something to jumpstart, their season. The Venom come off a day one, just unbelievable match that they came up a little bit short. And then they get into another dogfight today with the Bandits. And the Bandits, taking on the Sharks, getting better and better on day one. They come into day 2 with a little confidence, but really there's no pressure on either team, which showed. I think the Venom being in that gridlock situation with the Brigade on day 1, that's the adversity they needed to really help them pick up a big win today. Some of the highlights you see that come down once again to the sprint relay, just like it did in matches previous to that. The sprint relay was really the determining factor of wins and losses on a major scale this weekend. And shout out to the Venom. They take care of business. They pick up a win. And honestly, probably one of the most surprising teams. Like they were, a second away from really being 2-0 this weekend, which would have really shook some things up and really put some questions into some people's eyes. But here they are. They do pick up a big win. They're got some momentum. They got some positivity going. The Bandits can't be disappointed. They, as a rookie team with a lot of rookies, you got to be happy and proud of the performance. They got better and better each week, and you saw it. So shout out to the Bandits, and I think they got something good to build upon for the future. That leaves us with the last and final match of the day, of the weekend. You have the Palms and the Wild, and 2 0-3 teams. And when you saw the match, you wouldn't have thought it. You would have thought they were all 3-0, trying to contend for some type of championship because they were on fire. They were going out strong. The Palms end up picking up the win, 17-15. The Palms just make it hard on anyone. Like they're not gonna let you win easy. They're gritty. It's like a rock fight with them. They get you in the mud and it make it really, really tough. The Wild, you got to be proud. I mean, I talked to Dan Jackson, the coach, and he's just like, man, I'm proud of these guys. They fight. They never give up. It's something that it's hard to coach that. You just got to go and get players who have that mindset. And I think he's done a good job of getting the right players. The injury bug really, really, hurts, but he does have some really good rookies that he's got a 3-year plan to build upon these athletes. And I think they're going to be moving in the right direction. So, not the season that they wanted, but something you definitely want to be proud of for the effort and the fight that they had all weekend and really all season. So that takes us to, the end, the cleanup, the go home. And what I can leave you with is the playoffs, the championships are set. You're going to see the number 1 seed Sharks taking on the number 2 seed Brigade. You're going to get the number 1 seed Lions taking on the number 2 seed Breakers. And the winner of those matches, are going to fight for a championship. And I think any combination of those 2 teams or 4 teams in the championship, whoever wins that championship is going to earn it, but also deserve it. So it's been a great weekend, been an interesting weekend. Everybody's tired, but I just wanted to make sure I got on here and gave you guys some content, gave you a little recap. That way, if you're traveling, you got something to listen to on your travels, or if you're wanting to just stay abreast to whatever's going on in United Grid League, here it is. But I appreciate everybody. Had a blast this weekend. You saw me on the sidelines doing my thing. I appreciate the team, Cassie, Taylor, supporting, helping, just making me be better, just trying to add value. So appreciate everybody. Y'all be good. If you can't be good, be safe. And I'll see everybody next week. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We're out.